Good evening, Queens. This is Queen Oshia Muhammad of Queendom Incorporated. And first, we would like to welcome all of those who are listening on our Queen Call Thursday, February the 23rd, 2017. It is customary that we would like to open up our Queen Call with a brief prayer. Heavenly Father, we seek our refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek our refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek our refuge from cowardliness and niggardliness. We seek our refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. Heavenly Father, suffice us thou with that which is lawful. Keep away from that which is unlawful. And with thy grace, keep us free of want of all that is besides thee. Heavenly Father, we ask that you please bless all. We ask that you please bless all of the hearts and minds that are listening to this call. We ask that we walk away with the word that will inspire us, encourage us, and help us to be a vessel to continue your work. We thank you, Father, for this day. We thank you for one another, and we thank you for this opportunity to feed our minds. And we pray that we don't take this opportunity and this time for granted. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, welcome again, Queens, all those who are listening. We are very excited at this Queen Call. And if you have a minute, if you can go ahead and text all of your friends the login information, tell them they want to get on this call tonight because you are sure to be blessed with a powerful message tonight. So if we have a few seconds before we're going to actually introduce our speaker. So if you can, please invite your mothers, your aunties, your cousins, your sisters, invite them on the call. For those, if this is your first time, Queen Calls, we really like to say this is our sacred time as women where we come together to empower one another. The good thing about the Queen Calls is that we're striving at QCI, which is Queendom Incorporated, to provide you with pertinent, relevant, valuable, purposeful information. And the good thing about it is you don't have to take the rollers out of your hair and fix your hair. You don't have to put any clothes. You don't have to worry about what the steward is going to do because we try to provide this very, very purposeful information right in the comfort of your home. The only thing you have to do is log on. So if you have any friends or family and they're not on, please send them a text message and encourage them to get on because they will surely enjoy the message that we have for them tonight coming through a dynamic sister. This is one that I believe is probably going to be one of the best ones yet. All of the calls are good, but this one is definitely going to be a treat for all those who are able to listen. As we said before, this is a time that we really like to empower one another. Tonight's topic, Queens consciously creating a life of abundance. I'm going to say that one more time. Queens consciously creating a life of abundance. And a lot of times when we hear that word abundance, most of us, I know I do, most of the time think of money and think of luxury, although we love those things, but abundance doesn't necessarily have to be financial things. It doesn't have to be tangible things. You can have abundant joy. You can have abundant happiness, abundant health, because abundant simply means a large quantity of something. And so what is it that we want in large quantities? It may be money. It may be, finances. It may be, health. It may be happiness. It may be peace. It may be joy. And so as queens, we want to talk about how can we make what we want in abundance a reality. And we can't do that by waking up waiting for something to happen. We have got to wake up with a plan and conscious mindset to get it done. And so that's what we're here to talk about tonight is how do we consciously create a life of abundance. And so without further ado, I want to bring up next one of the founders of Queendom Come, Sister Sadia, Queen Sadia Evangelista, and she's going to, introduce our distinguished guest so we can get right to the reason why you all are on this call. Queen Sadia, are you ready?
I am ready. I'm so ready, Sister Queen O'Shea. So it is truly an honor to be with y'all tonight. I'm excited about our speaker that we have next. And just a little background how I met the sister a couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago now. I had an opportunity to participate in a business mastery class. And, you know, as we know in the world, there's a science to business. And if you don't learn this science to business, then it's going to be very difficult to have an abundant life when it comes to creating finances. You know, I live by the model that we should be able to do for self. And if we're able to do for self, then no one can navigate or dictate that which we can do for ourselves. And so in this conference, you know, and I'm going to just be honest with you, there wasn't a lot of people, and black sisters in this particular conference. Why? One, because financially people were outpriced mentally. And then the second thing is, you know, a lot of people don't believe that they need to learn the science of business. We just throw something out there, we try to figure it out, and then hope that it sticks. But there is an absolute science in order to create the life of abundance. And this sister, her spirit was just so beautiful and just radiant, and we would pass each other by, and then we just had to stop because the radiance and the vibrational energy that this sister exuded, I knew there was something special about this sister, but I did not know what it was. And it was a 5-day, very intense conference, and so we had the opportunity to talk. And so at that point, we knew that, you know, that there's a saying that there is power in proximity. And at that time, I knew that I was in the proximity of power, and I did not want to allow another day to go by before I tapped into this sister's power. And she's absolutely powerful sister. So I'm going to read her bio really quickly. I can go on and on about this beautiful sister. Sister Monica, you there? Just want to make sure you're there.
Yes,
right.
I am here.
All right. Queen Monica is a serial entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a power alignment coach. Queen Monica transformed from impoverished and unstable childhood with a drug-abusing parent to owning and consulting for $1 million organizations. In 2006, Queen Monica and Queen Kim Roundtree founded the Solace Group, a consulting firm dedicated to helping mental health organizations in the area of expansion, operation, and programming. The Solace Group grew to become a beacon of leadership in the mental health industry, consulting with hundreds of organizations all over the country. In 2010, the Solace Group decided to put theory to practice. They stepped away from consulting in order to co-launch a brick-and-mortar mental health clinic. 5 years later, Queen Monica and her partner sold the clinic for 7 figures, an extremely rare feat in the mental health industry. Queen Monica's journey from a tumultuous past to business and personal success is what drives her desire to teach others to become their own change agents. Queen Monica now is the CEO and founder of Source Thought and a master coach at Not Just Wait. Source Thought is a motivational and inspirational company that provides personal development, business coaching, and products dedicated to spiritual growth and lifelong learning. Not Just Wait is a wellness program that combines the principle of naturopathic medicine, lifestyle medicine, and mindset to promote an easy transition into a healthier life. Queen Monica's overall mission, no matter the platform, is to help persons see the grandest vision of themselves and then holding them accountable to realize that vision. Wow, pretty powerful, Sister Monica. So without further ado, let us welcome Queen Monica Lewis. Queen Monica, the floor is all yours.
All right, thank you so much. I feel so blessed to be a part of this. I am so honored. Thank you, Queens, for allowing me this platform. I agree. I was totally blessed by your presence. When we met at the conference, it was a breath of fresh air to see you because, like you said, yeah, there was not many black women at the conference. So to be able to see other powerful black women was just something to behold and something to be thankful for. So, you know, when we were in the presence of each other, you know, it was kind of funny because we always kind of gave each other like the side eye or the nod as an encouragement to each other to know that it was a blessing to be in the building. And the topic that we are talking about tonight, oh my gosh, abundance. like it was said earlier, abundance is a topic that often is equated with money and material things, but abundance is something that, as my coach says, Lisa Nichols, it is something that is really affects every area of your life. Abundance is those things that are in large quantity and large supply. So really that can measure up or be focused on anything in your life, not just money. And so when we're talking about abundance, we want to just open our eyes. And I would like to talk about my shift in my consciousness, because early on in life I came from, as you stated, an impoverished background. My focus was not always on living in abundance. When you grow up in a particular mindset, when you grow up around people who have beliefs that are passed down to them, you tend to take on those traits. And when I was young, it was an environment that was full of love, but it was also an environment that did not truly know the expansiveness of abundance. We didn't have a lot, and so those things that we were given, sometimes it was a struggle to receive them. My mom had to work really, really hard, and then I was raised by her and a stepfather who, my stepfather was on drugs for a portion of my childhood, and so a lot of times things weren't present and available like some children would want them to be. And so there was a mentality that began to develop when I was very young, a mentality of scarcity and a mentality of lack, not knowing when things would be available. There were times when we would come home and let's say the lights may not be on because at the time we could not afford to keep them on. And I know that there are people who have similar struggles. There were times when I had scarcity with my stepfather because he may not have been there for periods of time because he was consumed with his habit. And so this taught me this pattern of things being there, but also things being taken away. And as an adult, this pattern continued to manifest. So there was the pattern of love, but there was also the pattern of scarcity. And love and scarcity cannot go hand in hand, because abundance is a product of love. Scarcity and lack is a product of the consciousness of fear. I call those two consciousnesses, now that I have grown into an adult and have expanded my knowledge base, I call those two types of consciousness joy and dis-ease. And we'll talk about that a little bit further. But as I grew older, this concept, these thought process moved with me into everything from relationships to bringing wealth into my life, from friends to trying new things. These were all concepts of lack and scarcity being the predominant thought process, were still prevalent in my life. And so because of this, my relationships with men even were not stable. They were not relationships that would pour into me. Some of them were, but a lot of them were relationships that were not abundant, that did not bless me. And so I ended up in a relationship, and I got married. And in that relationship, I was going through a period where my ex-husband he didn't know how to love me. He was struggling in some thought processes himself. But in that struggle, he was cheating on me. And I know there's a lot of women who, a lot of queens on the call, I'm sure you've experienced that type of betrayal, that type of hurt. And I didn't know quite how to deal with it. I felt worthless at the time. I felt like there was a part of me that was just dying inside. And when we think about that death, abundance is not death. Abundance is expansion and growth. Abundance is not dying and loneliness and feeling like you're cut off or feeling like you're less than. And so I was in a place where the scarcity, the lack, the consciousness of disease had gotten to a point where I just no longer felt like I deserved anything. I no longer felt like I was worthy. And so 3 o'clock in the morning, after several nights of my husband not being there, it got to a breaking point where I knew that I deserved something better. And I was just hurting so badly that I cried out to God. And I'm assuming that a lot of you have a spiritual calling or you believe in God, but there are probably some of you who may not have a close relationship, and that's okay too, because we all have this inner knocking, this inner wellness, this something part of us that tells us how to navigate and to move to something greater. And that thing that was calling on me, the only thing I knew at that point, the only thing I knew to do was to pray. And so, but I was not praying from abundance. I was praying from lack, and I was praying from scarcity. I was praying from frustration. But there was something clear about my prayer, and it was powerful because I asked God, I said, at this point in my life, I know I deserve better, and I know he's cheating on me, and I know he's lying, so I need something. I need results within a short period of time to tell me whether I need to stay or to tell me whether I need to go. And you guys, queens, if you all have been in that space, or if any of you have been in that space where something is revealed to you, within 24 hours, I had the proof that I needed. And that proof showed me something. It showed me that, okay, my mindset, a shift occurred, that my mindset and the focus and the thought processes that I had about myself could not be correct, because if God could meet me in that low moment, in that place, then surely he had something greater for me in my life. And it was that click that allowed me to live not in that balancing act from scarcity to abundance and from joy to dis-ease, back and forth, but to live purpose in joy, live purpose in abundance. And so with those steps, I began to read more. I began to meet people. Things began to come into my life to make things a whole lot clearer. And what I realized is that abundance is something that should occur today. Love is today. So often we are putting off the happiness because we don't have the money. We may not have the relationship. We may not have the material things that we desire. We may not be at a place where we queens are able to have the children we think we deserve at this point. But what I learned is that the more purposed I was on being happy today, the more purposed I was on having joy today, that the abundance grew. Because again, abundance is expansion. Abundance is growth. Abundance is not scarcity. It doesn't contract. So when your focus and your alignment is constantly on contracting, when your focus and alignment is constantly on lack, you push away the abundance in your life. And so there were little games that I began to play. in order to grow more happiness, in order to expand more abundance in my life. I would do simple things like look around in my environment, and I would look at things like trees. There are so many trees, but when you look at 2 trees, neither one of them are alike. When you go to a party, and let's say it's that party where you're wearing that little black dress, and everybody is wearing that formal black dress, but not one person in the place has the same black dress on. That's abundance. Abundance comes in so many forms, but often when we are in that lack mentality, when we're in that contracting mentality, we don't realize that we tend to hoard things, and we don't share, and we don't expand, and we don't believe it's possible that everyone can have blessing, everyone can have wealth. And so with that, we compete. We compete egregiously. We compete to the point where we hurt each other. We don't uplift each other. We don't bless other queens. We often talk about one another to each other's detriment. And that is lack. That's contracting. Where abundance shows love, abundance shows joy. And from that joy, that love, wealth begins to grow. And so after the shift that occurred in my life, I began to seek out opportunities. I was in the mental health field, and I was working at an organization, and I was always intrigued about how things worked. And so with that, I began to move forward. Promotions came easily because I always looked at how to add value. And I know at the same conference we went to, that was one of the things that was really promoted, is how to add value. Adding value is abundant. And so with that, I began to help the company that I was in grow on a extreme level. I created a thought process of abundance and ownership within the company that I work for as an employee. And from that, the company expanded its growth, its margins of revenue by leaps and bounds. And so people began to come to me and ask me, well, how do you do that? How are you able to do this contracting? How are you able to get this company to grow so fast? And so I met Kim Roundtree, and Kim Roundtree was one of the people who asked me to help her to begin doing some contracting on the side. And that began to grow. And with that growth, we continued that mindset of abundance, and eventually we started a clinic, and we ended up selling that clinic. At the time when I was living with my ex-husband, I was making around $30,000 a year. With the time that I sold the business for 7 years, that time frame was only 10 years. But my thought processes grew within leaps and bounds of learning how to move fluidly in a mindset of abundance. And so one of the tools that I use in order to do that, and I didn't realize that I was doing that at the beginning, but now I consciously do it, and I've been consciously doing it for a couple years, is moving through joy and knowing when I'm in a place of disease. And with those, I can make a conscious decision which will lead me down a path of abundance versus a path of lack and a path of fear. Joy consciousness, and for those of you who want to live a life of more freedom, more joy, more wealth, more abundance, joy consciousness is a mindset. And joy doesn't mean you have to be elated all the time. It doesn't mean you're walking around looking like the Joker with a smile on your face constantly. No, joy is being hopeful. Joy is excitement. Joy is those butterflies in your stomach when you see that person that you love. Joy is feeling a sense of contentment. Joy is looking at your child and being proud of the things that they're accomplishing. Those are the things that cause joy. Dis-ease is when you feel unsure, you feel fear, you feel doubt, you mistrust, you don't feel like you're enough. You look at the other person as if they are less than. You are better than them. Dis-ease is when you have a sense of nothing is possible. Things will not come to you easily. Money is not something that you deserve. These are the thoughts of dis-ease. The way you feel it in your body, because like I was saying earlier, there is a knowing in all of us, and it's been placed in us to give us a guidance on how to live. And I look at it like that intuition, that calling, and, queens probably more than anything, women really have a grasp a lot of times on that intuition. A lot of times when you guys know that something is going on, that's that inner knowing, that inner calling telling you, okay, something's not right. Well, using this method, I learned how to tune directly into whether I'm making a decision from joy and abundance or whether I'm making a decision from dis-ease and lack. When you're in joy, you feel good. You feel like life is possible. You feel warm. When you're in dis-ease, you can feel the tension and the contraction in your body. So, queens, if I said the statement, girl, that outfit looks good today. I am in love with those shoes. You have the most beautiful smile. You feel joy. You feel a sense of pleasure, a heightened awareness, a sense of warmth that goes through you. But if I said, you'll never be anything, you'll never amount to anything, I can't believe you with that low-life deadbeat. You are a sad piece of trash, and so is he. Your children, you will never provide anything for your children. When I say those words, and when people have said those types of words to you, or that chatterbox that goes off in your head, and you hear those words in your head that you won't be enough, that you can't do enough, that you won't make enough, that money doesn't come freely, that feeling, that discord, that's dis-ease. That's that inner being saying, no, you're meant to be more. I want you to have more. I want you to do more. And so now consciously, when I make a business decision, I check myself. Am I in a joy consciousness or am I in dis-ease? If I'm in joy, the likelihood of abundance and expansion is possible. But if I'm in dis-ease, I'm probably making a decision that doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my creative ability. It doesn't serve my unique blueprint that's me. And so often we go with that dis-ease because we're afraid of being uncomfortable. And uncomfortable is a whole lot different than dis-ease. Uncomfortable is moving forward in hope. You feel a little bit of tension in your body as far as, can I do this? How will it come? But not that it's possible. Whereas with dis-ease, you feel like, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. But we get so comfortable in dis-ease that we can't tell the difference. And so what I do in my coaching is I help people clearly discern that path within themselves, find their unique blueprint, that part of them that tells them when they're in and on track to abundance. That is how I created my wealth. That is how I created relationships with friends who are supportive of me. I now am in an abundant love relationship with a man who really, really loves me truly. And my ex-husband, yes, that was a very difficult time in my life. But I'm learned now that more than likely he was in a diseased consciousness most of the time, and he was doing and loving me the best that he knew how. And I attracted him from that place, from my place of not being fully on in abundance. And so I want you to just expand your mind, expand your thought process, expand your beliefs, and know that abundance is all around you. Because when we go back to that example that I gave of the party with the black dress, it's so simple, but yet amazing at the same time, because how many of us have been to that party where there's 50 people in the room, they all have on black, and not one person has on the same thing? You have that unique blueprint inside of you as well. So many of us, though, because like when I was a child, I took on the mindset of the environment that was around me. And with that mindset and that environment that was around me, I took on certain traits. I tried to kind of be like people wanted me to be. I tried to live by the rules and the thought processes that they had for me. But now I live on purpose for me. And I'm not trying to live another person's life. That's lack and contracting as well. When you are a bumblebee, or if you guys have seen bumblebees, they make honey. And then a cow makes milk. I tell my clients all the time, though, there's so many of us who are bumblebees who are trying to live the life of a cow and produce milk because we're not in tune to that inner part of us, that part of us that tells us who we are, what our abundance blueprint looks like. And so I'd like to go back, too, to when we were at the Business Mastery, and you can chime in, but I thought it was so awesome how some of the businesses that were there, because I know a lot of you want to shift to the mindset of money, so we will talk about that as well. But one of the companies that was being interviewed at the Business Mastery course was Airbnb. And if you guys have ever heard of Airbnb, just to give a little bit of understanding of what kind of business it is, but it is a modern way of basically going to someone's home, and instead of doing a bed and breakfast or a traditional bed and breakfast or a hotel. Airbnb is where you would go live in someone's home for a short period of time, and you are in a vacation spot or anywhere you're traveling, and they host you for that short period of time. The Airbnb has really blown up, and they are being evaluated. They're currently revenues are like, I think, in the billions, something crazy like that. You know, don't quote me. But we think of them as being the trendsetters in the game of this particular business. But actually, there were several businesses out there at the time, according to the interview, that were doing the same thing. But they had a mindset that was different, a mindset of marketing, a mindset of innovation, and abundance that separated them from all the others, because they went with their own unique blueprint. And now their value is higher than most regular hotel chains within a 9-year period. And so that is an example of abundance, an abundance mindset, where you are able to tap into that uniqueness. And because you were able to tap into that unique blueprint, the wealth comes. And so once you are able to find your purpose and align with it, and you're able to tap into that unique blueprint, then the doors of opportunity begin to open. When you live in a state of consciousness of abundance and joy, it's amazing how things will come to you to help you. It's not a coincidence that I'm able to meet the people who come into my life, who are able to help me to become successful, to grow wealth, to live dreams. Because anything that is celebrated, anything that comes in the form of growth and expansion, if you think on those things will continue to grow. They will continue to be celebrated. And so the blessings, they come in the form of books, in the form of people, in the form of wealth, in the form of relationships. All of those things come to you to help you to fulfill your dreams, your purpose, and to continue in that state of joy. Some of the books that have helped me, and I'd like to share those with you guys, is Abundance Now. That is one of the books that was written by my coach, Lisa Nichols. And in that, she talks about having abundance from a 360 view, where abundance is not something that only occurs in a box, as we talked about before. It's not just about wealth. It's about several areas of your life, from relationships to health, having an abundant health. There are so many people who will strive after money, but their health is lacking. Their relationships are lacking because they are not able to harmonize all of those areas. And so in this book, she talks about tools to create 360 abundance, as well as tools to actually create wealth. And so that's one of the recommendations that I have for you guys, is to definitely read Abundance Now. Another book that was very helpful for me is The Path Redefined. And The Path Redefined is by Lauren Melian. And she is an awesome business entrepreneur. She's young. Some of the things that she has done early in life, from just deciding, and this is, oh my gosh, true abundance. When you believe enough, then you don't have the background to open a winery, but she decided that she was going to start a vineyard and became very successful with it and sold it. She was on the TV show Quit Your Day Job, and in the book she talks about her past and how you create your own lane in wealth, in success, in your personal life. And the unique thing about both of these women, these queens believe that there's no such thing as work-life balance. And I know you guys have heard, queens, about work-life balance. What they believe is that you merge and harmonize work life and all of the other quadrants, meaning that if you can merge all of them, meaning like if you could one day bring your child to work, or in the time that you spend with your child, or in the time that you spend with your loved one, you are solely dedicated and focused on them. So it may be 2 hours of a day, and you may have spent 7 hours on your business. But to believe that you're going to spend, out of let's say 14-hour waking day, 7 with your family exactly, and 7 with your work or business, is unrealistic. What is realistic is learning how to make your no very conscious and visible, so that those things that have no value in your life, you're saying no to them. And then those things that are a blessing, value add to your life, but also those things that you add value to, that those are the things that you're saying yes to. And whenever you're saying yes, you give that yes fully, 100%. And that is more than a lot of parents and a lot of relationships with a significant other. That is more than a lot of them contribute when they spend significant amounts of time with that other person or with their job. So often when we're at work or we're with family, we can't create an abundant, healthy family life or an abundant work business life because the time that we spend within those quadrants is distracted. Or we're taking on too many tasks from other people. People that we really just saying yes to, but it's not something that will fully bless us and fully bless our lives. And so letting your no strongly and soundly be your no, and your yes strongly and soundly be your yes. That is a very healthy tool to create abundance in those areas that you say yes to. Because when you can concentrate 100% of your time, of the time that you give to those areas, then you're focused on growth, you're focused on creativity, expansion, and joy in that area at that time. And you can give it all that you have. That also means that when you are in business or you have a purpose, that you get deep into what your niche is, your blueprint of abundance. Because there are so many people who are trying to do so many things, be so many things, have so many types of businesses, that they cannot be fully abundant and wealthy in one because they have not driven deep in their niche, in their blueprint. And so both of these women talk about that as well. And so Abundance Now and The Path Redefined are definitely books that I would suggest that you guys read. But also, I have a book coming out called Power Source, and it goes deeper, and it'll be out on, the tentative date is early spring, like around March 26th. That's my daughter's birthday, so we're going to try to, push forward for that date, but I'll be giving you guys more details to come. You can definitely go to my website as well at iamsourcethought.com. But in the book, we'll be talking about how to really tap into 6 steps that will help you to really create a life of joy and create a life of abundance. So whether you're consciously and purposely, step by step, learning how to make decisions from growth and expansion versus make decisions from lack and scarcity. It will talk about joy and dis-ease and how to differentiate between the two. And so this will also be a great tool for you guys as well. And then lastly, I would like to talk about, for the last few minutes, the importance of when you receive wealth or whatever monies that you have at this point, you need to ensure that you're taking care of it. Often we don't pay ourselves first. And so there are many people, and when I say pay yourself first, I'm talking about setting aside money for growth, expansion of knowledge, also investment. As we talked about earlier in the call, one of the reasons why we were the only ones at the Business Mastery class is because so many of us are not investing in ourselves. We don't set money to the side in order to take care of ourselves financially. We don't set money to the side to take care of ourselves and our health. We don't set money to the side to take care of ourselves in growth. And so our people especially are growing in disease, as far as disease when it comes to breaking down the body. We have the highest rates of debt. We have the lowest rate of wealth in our community. And so it's time out for that. And so abundance also means taking care of oneself, setting money to the side so that you can, number one, continue to grow money. You want your money to get to a point where eventually you are investing or you're setting a percentage to the side, and I always say purpose it. If you're paying off your debt, you need to purpose it like you're paying off a bill and put it a part of your bill. So whatever that amount is, whether it's 10% of your money or whether it's a $500 amount or whatever that looks like, it needs to be treated as if it's your rent or your mortgage, and it needs to be paid to the debt every month, whatever the amount is. If you can't pay it a particular month, you would treat it as similar to if you had lapsed on another bill. The next month or when you can, you want to double up. That's how you purpose to get out of debt. People ask me all the time, how did I get out of debt? That is how I did it. I purposed it. You cannot haphazardly get out of debt. You cannot haphazardly grow your knowledge base. You cannot haphazardly grow wealth. And so we need to set money to the side. We need to set time to the side. We need to set these things to the side in order to continue to grow in abundance and grow in wealth and expand. Because when we don't have money working for ourselves, and whether it's in a savings account or whether you choose to invest in some other means, but when you do not have monies that you can tap into, your lack and scarcity mentality will grow in times when you have difficulty because you have not prepared. And that is being purposed and prepared as well. And so a conscious mindset means planting seeds in the right spaces as well. Mm-hmm. That abundance means where are you sowing your seeds? Are you sowing it in material things? Are you sowing it into your health? Or are you sowing it into relationships that are unhealthy? What are you sowing your seeds of money, your seeds of time? What are you sowing those seeds into? And so that consciousness, being aware of that level of abundance as well. And so we want to just think of abundance in a different way and look at it from a 360 level and step by step begin to change our lives. And if you need my help, please reach out and contact me. You can contact me through Facebook or Instagram, or you can also look me up at my website. I also do coaching at the Lifestyle Clinic here in Charlotte, helping people with power alignment coaching and the things that we discussed tonight, as well as business coaching for entrepreneurs, especially those who are in the health, wellness, and coaching industry. And so I want to thank you guys so much for this opportunity. It was a blessing to be able to pour into you, Queens. I really hope that you received some nuggets of information, some blessing from tonight's call.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
now,
so,
before you go, Sister Monica, if there's anybody who have any questions on the line, you can text 832-623-2323, 832-623-2323 for any questions that you may have for Queen Monica Lewis. Now, Sis O'Shea, you still there? Sis Queen O'Shea?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
do you have any questions for Queen Monica concerning abundance and just have an abundance mindset?
Wow. I am, first of all, let me just say thank you. It was so powerful.
You are so welcome.
I have notes all over my paper, and I should have brought more paper because I was really intensely listening, and I'm really still trying to process a lot of what you said. But it was very, very helpful. And I know that, she definitely gave us a lot to think about. And I'm very, very grateful for your nuggets. It's a lot to chew on, but it was absolutely phenomenal. I'm still trying to process this, Sadia, so I don't have any questions at this time. Oh, I did have one that I kind of wrote down. It was about dis-ease, and you talked about having these two different states of consciousness, about joy and dis-ease. Now, when you have this dis-ease, how do you work through it? Because, of course, we know that we go through life, and every decision is, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it. We know there's a struggle to life. There's a struggle to decisions that we may find ourselves in. How do you work past the disease? Because I guess we kind of expect life to have struggles, and so it's kind of like if it has a struggle, does that mean something is off, something is wrong? How do you work through this disease consciousness to get into that joy consciousness?
I am so glad you asked that. One of the things that I teach is gratitude. When we feel, so you want to be aware of when you're in disease. And one of the biggest things that this teaches is for you to be in tune. But once you feel yourself in that place, the first thing you want to do is open yourself up to forgiveness, because it's okay. No, everybody, including myself, and I've been practicing this for a long time, but I will hit a state of dis-ease consciousness, and I'm asking myself, okay, where is this coming from? And when I do that, it's okay. But then I practice gratitude. So let's say I'm feeling like, okay, how am I going to get this accomplished? I don't have the knowledge base to get this accomplished. That feeling inside of me is a place of dis-ease because I'm not feeling like I'm enough. So then what I do is I practice gratitude, and that gratitude says, well, thank you, God, or thank whomever you feel comfortable with, or whatever that looks like. But thank you, God, for bringing me this far. Thank you for the beauty that's in my life. Thank you for the strength that I have, the knowledge base that I have. And the more specific you are with the gratitude related to the topic of disease, it'll take you back to a joy state. Because going from disease to joy, gratitude can take you there, and forgiveness. But usually when you are going from joy to dis-ease, there's usually some lie that is being told. So the lie is something like you're not enough, you're not worthy, money will never come to you. These are the lies. So there's usually, every time you feel dis-ease, more than likely there's a lie in the midst, if that makes sense. There's an imposter in place. And so that's that cycle or that circle. The thing about being purposed with this is that you are able to get home faster. So where you might have wallowed in dis-ease, now I wallow in joy, and I play around every now and again in dis-ease. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yes.
I know, right?
I think you have set a lot of people free tonight. And what I mean by that is because that really goes back, I guess, to the root of no one has control over your joy or disease but you. And so your disease and joy is not necessarily, although they may have attributed to it, they don't control it, and you have absolute control over how you feel no matter the circumstances. You have control. Correct. And so that gives us a sense of power of being able to create what we desire. So that was really, really heavy. That was really heavy. And I thank you for that.
You're so welcome. And that tool alone, if you practice it, and sometimes it's hard, which my clients learn how to navigate it, because sometimes what brought them to the state of dis-ease is unclear, but I'm able to help them navigate through it because of the practice, the ongoing practice that I've done. But that tool alone, that awareness of where joy and abundance lies versus lack, scarcity, and dis-ease will change your life, because it's simple, but it will change the total course of your life.
Wow, powerful.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we look like we have run out of time. So, Sister Monica, can you come back to one of our Queen calls sometime in the future? Because, I mean, you just hit the tip of the iceberg of abundance. I mean, there's so much science to abundantly thinking, and you talked about the gratitude. And I just came back from a conference with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he breaks down the science of creating an abundance in the language that we understand, which is science, you know. So we take out the philosophy, the philosophical, the spookism that people are afraid of. They think this abundance or the secret thing is not really real, some hocus pocus. But there's an actual science to this, and that gratitude is like the joy, the gratitude, the high vibrational feelings are those frequencies, because everything is energy, everything is frequency, everything is energy. And when you are in a frequency or a consciousness, like you said, of joy, then you can attract abundance. And so can you promise that you come back on this line and give us some more information? And before you leave, give us your book one more time. When will it be available? Where can they get it?
You can go to my website, and
What's the website?
IamSourceThought.com, and you can basically put your contact information in for more details about the book. The book is coming out at the end of March. I also have a collaboration book that I'm doing called Wake, Pray, Slay. What's the name of the book again? The first one is Power Source, Living a Life of Lasting Joy. And then I have a collaboration book that I'm doing called Wake, Pray, Slay, and that book will be out April 29th. It's 15 women, unstoppable women, who are talking about their particular stories of overcoming. And so that book will be out April 29th. And so just hit me up on my website or Facebook or Instagram. You can look me up under my name, Monica Lewis, and inbox me whatever your questions, anything, and I'll be glad to get more information to you about anything that I do for coaching or more details about the book.
Yes, we definitely need to get a book tour scheduled here.
I look forward to it. I am definitely open to it.
Yes.
So come to Houston. I promise you, we'll make sure that it's well attended, sis. And you know that's another thing is that when we lift, we don't compete with each other. We just had an event called the Crowning, and Queens don't compete. We collaborate. And so, as you said, there's enough wealth to go around. And so that's where I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to be in dis-ease. I'm trying to be where abundance is and be connected to those close to proximity, and that would be you, Sister Monica.
Yes. Thank you, Queens. I feel so blessed to be on this call, and I will be honored to do something in the future, and I would love to schedule a book tour with you guys as well and come out there and see you face to face again, ladies.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, well, we'd like to thank you once again on behalf of Queendom Come and all those who have joined us this evening. We thank you, and we know that you got something of value out of this today. And this is being recorded, and so we're going to send out the link too, just in case if you know somebody who could benefit from this, because this is too powerful to just be right here. We want to spread this message to our sisters, because that's what we're all about at Queendom Come, is women empowering other women. And so please, as Sister Sadia said, we just had the crowning event. That was our annual fundraiser. If you did not get a chance to make it, this is where we raise funds for our programs that we have in the community, that we help young women and girls. We try to inspire, cultivate, and motivate them through education, through training, character development, things such as a clean call. And if you didn't get a chance to make it, you missed it. However, you can still help by going to www.myqueendomcome. That's myqueendomcome.org. And please, you can give us your information if you would like to volunteer and help us here in Houston, as well as the next clean call will be March 23rd, and it will be on Thursday. And so we're going to be advertising for that. So mark your calendar. It's the last Thursday of every month. So follow us on social media. We're on Facebook as well. That's where you can get all the updates about the upcoming events that we have going on. And, again, we would like to thank you all for your time, and we pray that you got something of value out of this call. And until next time, we also on Instagram and Twitter. So please look us up on that and like us on Facebook. And thank you all so much. And at this time, we would like to say, as we like to close, as Queendom come, as we always like to say, that when you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Until the next time, Queens, may you be blessed.